Hi everyone, this video covers my pool plan for the second half of January 2021 in Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia global version of the game. Specifically, it will cover the banners where Firion BT are featured, and Firion is a synergy unit across all these events. Specifically, will be Mission Challenge 3, Exdeath's Lost Chapter, and the first global boss rush event. So quick disclaimers before we head into the banners. The pool plan is really meant for informative purposes only. I'll be sharing what I feel is the best approach for myself. It may or may not necessarily be the best approach for anyone else. So by no means it should be considered the best strat, because I firmly believe that there are multiple ways or strategies to play this game. Of course, there are many factors that always should be considered when someone decides to pool, such as what your current resources in terms of tickets, gems, and even ingots are. Who do you currently have built up in your current roster, and what roles do you really need to fill? What content do you actually need to clear, because certain characters excel at certain content, and of course who your favorite characters are. Personally, my plan tends to be heavily influenced by completing Chaos Challenge quests, because those quests restrict you to use only synergy units as part of the mission requirements. So because of that, I tend to heavily favor the burst characters, because they tend to be synergy across multiple events. So coming to the first event, which is Mission Challenge 3, as all similar raid events, there's going to be 2 banners with 6 synergy characters. On the first banner, you have Firion, Golbez, and Faris. And the second banner consists of Lena, Irvine, and Fujin. My plan here is to aim for Firion's LD. There's only 2 weapons I'm missing on this banner, which is Firion's LD and Irvine's EX. And I'm not too fast about Irvine, because I don't plan on using Irvine anytime soon anyway. So I'll be throwing tickets until I score Firion's LD, hoping of course that I get his burst weapon along the way. To me, if you've seen my previous pool videos, I never chase after any burst weapons. I treat them as a bonus. If I get them while I'm aiming for other LD or other weapons, then it's a good bonus. But if I don't get it, I'll just suck it up and move on to the next event. Personally, when I look at the characters across both banners, of course, if you don't have any of Firion's other weapons, then you should really be pulling on the banner featuring Firion, Golbez, and Faris, so that you can at least complete Firion's gear. But if you've already got all other Firion's weapons, then personally I think the better banner to pull on would be the one featuring Lena, Irvine, and Fujin. The main reason for this is Golbez and Faris are fairly outdated, and unluckily for them, there are more recent characters recently released in the global version of the game that fulfills similar functions as them. So for example, Faris is notable mainly for her dispels, but we recently have Vanille and Beatrix, who I actually think are better dispellers than Faris. Golbez functions as a dark damage dealer, and at the global version of the game we already have Vivi, who is an excellent DPS character. And just before this event, we also have Xandes as well, which also functions as a dark damage dealer, and Xandes at least has the bonus of providing dark enchant to the party. So for that reason, I don't think we really need Golbez or Faris at this stage of the game, especially since they also sport outdated kits. On the other banner, the characters are also fairly outdated. However, at least Lena does have users with fairly notable brave regions, as well as debuff immunity built into her kit. which at this stage of the game is still fairly uncommon. Not many characters can actually provide debuff immunity. Fujin is notable because she is one of the precious few enchanters and imperialers, and her element is also wind, which at this stage of the game there's no other wind enchanter or imperialer yet. So at least she does still have some notable users compared to the characters on the other banner. So coming to Exdeath's Lost Chapters, I'm not a very particular fan of Exdeath. Not to say he's bad. The good thing about Exdeath is that because his kit is based on his attack stat, and it's all gravity brave shaving into HP damage, it means that actually all of Exdeath's attacks bypasses enemies' defenses, which can be quite good for Chaos and Lufenia stages. However, the flip side of it is that his attacks also are not affected by defense down debuffs that you may bring in with your party, and he can also not break any bosses with his skills due to the gravity nature of his attacks. The most he can do is bring the brave down to 0. So I feel at this stage his kit I don't really need it. I also don't like the fact that his kit also revolves around building up stacks of debuffs, and in Lufenia stages where it's very common to have bosses cleansing debuffs, it becomes another additional liability for him. So I plan to skip this banner. I have Warrior of Light and hopefully Firion's LD at this point, and they're both at 3-3 anyway, so my Gilgamesh is only at base EX, but I believe that should already be enough for the Chaos Challenge quest. I'm not too sure about the Lufenia yet. My suspicion is that the Lufenia should be doable without Exdeath, and I'll certainly be giving it a shot first, and I'll only come back to this banner if for some reason I cannot complete the Lufenia stage. If I can, then I'll be skipping this banner altogether. Coming to the third and final event in this arc, we have the first global boss rush event, and of course Firion and Exdeath makes a return as synergy characters, but otherwise the weapons that you can pull on this banner belong to Dark Knight Cecile, Leon and Kain. The price on this banner really is Dark Knight Cecile's LD weapon, and upon the release of this banner he will also be getting a rework which will bring him up to the current Lufenia worthy or Lufenia viable stage. I really like his kit. Launches are always notable because they bring in extra DPS by virtue of the launch, and his LD and his rework would make Dark Knight Cecile a good contender for the current top tier DPS. For me at this stage, if I haven't gotten Firion's burst yet from the previous banners, I will be probably using gems actually until I get Dark Knight Cecile's LD weapon. Or having said that, of course, I don't plan to chase Firion's burst weapon, so if I get Dark Knight Cecile's LD weapon before getting the burst weapon, I'll just stop there and I'll give Firion's burst weapon a miss. The other reason why I plan to use gems is I also still have Kain's EX not yet fully MLB'd, so if I get additional copies of Kain's EX, then again that's another good bonus. So because there's a few potential weapons that I could be using, I think it's good for me to use gems. Now if I get lucky and I score Firion's burst weapon already from previous banners, then instead of gems I'll actually just be throwing tickets at this banner until I score Dark Knight Cecile's LD weapon. So that's it for this video. Before I end, I just want to make a note that there is still the first free multi-pool. I'm not too sure until when the first free multi-pool will end. I think it's until the end of this arc, but at the very least I'm quite sure Firion's LDBT banners will have the first free pool. So hopefully I get the weapons I'm aiming for from the multi-pools, and of course I hope anyone watching this video will also get the weapons you are aiming for. In summary, I plan to use tickets until I get Firion's LD weapon. I plan to skip Exdeath, and if I haven't gotten Firion's burst yet at the point of Dark Knights of Steel's release, I will probably use gems for Dark Knights of Steel's LD. Otherwise, if I've already gotten Firion's burst weapon, I'll just be throwing tickets until I get Dark Knights of Steel's LD. Again, I hope to get Firion's burst while I'm chasing these LD weapons, but if I don't get it, then I'm not too worried, and I'll just move on to the next banner. Notably also, Ramza is coming up next, and for me as a person, I really like Ramza much more than I like Firion, so I will try to save more resources for Ramza coming up next. My MLB priorities, I actually think Dark Knights of Steel, if you are strapped for ingots, would make a better MLB priority than Firion, and the only reason for this is most people will have pulled for Root because he was very highly hyped. As a healer, I think Root brings more to the table than Firion, and Root also has insane battery built into his kit, which I think at this stage slightly outperforms Firion. So if you already have Root and Firion I think fulfills very similar roles, and for the most part you can just bring in Root and you don't really need Firion. So for that reason, I think Dark Knights of Steel will make a better use of ingots. If for some reason you missed out on Root, then definitely Firion is an excellent pickup. There aren't that many burst healers at this stage of the game, and Firion would fit that role very nicely for your upcoming fights at the very least. That's it for this arc and these few banners. If you've enjoyed the video, of course please hit the like and subscribe button, it really helps a lot. If you have other pool plans or comments, of course also please feel free to share them in the comment section in the video. Till then, I'll see you in the next pool plan video. See you!